Hey there, VCE HHD students. My name's Andy. I'm a VC Health and Human Development teacher. In this short video, we're going to look at answering the 2023 VCE HHD exam, question number 1. Before we dive into this video, just a reminder, I'm running 3 HHD exam revision lectures this year. You can see the 3 dates and times that are available. And if you've missed the first session or the second session, don't worry, there is additional sessions available. So if you head to the booking website at book.acedvce.com, you'll be able to see what sessions are still available. All of these are running online, so you'll be able to join from anywhere in the state. In each of these revision lectures, I'll be going through exam strategies and advice, including for the extended response question in the exam. We're covering the key content and skills that you need to be across the HHD exam. And if you do sign up, you get a set of notes that are posted to you at home with free shipping. Also, you'll see if you head to book.acevc.com that there's other subjects available such as English, biology, psychology. And if you combine, those subjects with HHD, you can save up to 20% on the cost of your ticket. So head there and sign up if you'd like to attend one of the HHD exam revision lectures that I'm running. So in these videos, we're going to go through and look at all of the questions, in the 2023 HHD exam. If you haven't already had a look, you'll see that I've already made videos last year on 2018 to 2022 VC HHD exams and gone through each question. So what you might like to do is when you complete these VCAT exams as part of your exam preparation, once you've gone through and had a look at answering those questions and reviewing them using the examiner's report, you might like to check out the videos where I kind of go through in detail what examiners were looking for in each question. So you can see here, question 1 from last year's exam asks, what is illness, as the first question for 1 mark, and then using one example, explain the subjective nature of illness for 2 marks. So let's dive into what they were looking for in an answer in the exam last year for these first parts of 1. So you hopefully have a set of glossary terms that you've been keeping throughout the year. And hopefully for illness, you've got in that glossary that it relates to how an individual feels or experiences a disease or an injury that they have. So that's a pretty short and sharp kind of description. And that's what was required for the exam last year for 1A, but you can see quite a number of students did not achieve a mark for this first part of the question. So in the examiner's report, you can see they've mentioned there, it's not having an opinion about a disease that an individual doesn't have. It's when an individual does have a disease and it's about how they experience or feel about that particular disease or injury. Then 1B, referring to the subjective nature of illness and an example of that worth 2 marks. So obviously when you're thinking about 2-mark questions, you should try to break the question down and think about where those 2 marks come from. So you got 1 mark for essentially describing what that subjective nature of illness was, and then another mark for giving an example of it. So a lot of students talked about the fact that subjective nature of illness is, how illness is experienced differently by different individuals. But then often students found it difficult to give an example of this. So you had to mention something along the lines of people having the same disease or the same severity of disease, but then they might still experience it in different ways due to a range of different factors. And those factors might be things such as previous experience with disease or their level of social support they have or pain thresholds. And they gave an example of a high scoring response here from the exam last year. So this individual said that illness is subjective as it's experienced differently by different individuals. And then they said, for example, 2 people may have the flu, but one person having a supportive family to take care of them when they're sick and the other may not, may cause them to experience or perceive their experience of the flu worse or differently. So that's important there as part of that response, that they talked about having that sort of same condition or same severity of disease. So they both had the flu, but then they experienced it differently because of some of those other factors. So make sure as part of your notes, in leading up to the exam this year, that you've got that clear. Then C, which was also the last question, in question 1, was asking you to identify one example of optimal physical health and well-being and outline how that may influence one other dimension of health and well-being. So once again, this is worth 2 marks. So a mark for an example of optimal physical health and well-being, and then a mark for being able to link that on to another dimension of health and well-being. So make sure you take note of that term sort of optimal, okay, in a question if that pops up, because you're really talking about experiencing high levels of that particular dimension. So here we're talking about physical health and well-being. So that means that when you give your example, you needed to obviously make that example relevant to optimal levels of physical health and well-being. So it mentions here in the examiner's report that just saying having energy, okay, would not be the same as saying having high levels or adequate levels of energy, okay, if you're linking that into an example of the optimal physical health and well-being. So they gave a couple of other examples here, such as being free from disease or injury, or having ideal or healthy body weight. And so then you had to obviously link that onto another dimension of health and well-being. So there was a lot of options you could have chosen from there. So they gave an example down here of a high scoring response where a student talked about an individual having optimal physical health and well-being and therefore having adequate energy levels. Means they might have enough energy to go to school and socialize with their peers, allowing them to expand their supportive network of friends and improve their social health and well-being. So if you did choose that optimal, okay, physical health and well-being example of adequate energy levels, there's obviously quite a lot of things you could have linked onto. This student chose school, but you could have linked that onto something like being able to have energy to attend work. And then you might have linked that onto being able to develop problem-solving skills, okay, which might increase self-esteem and promote mental health and well-being. So there's lots of different things you could have done, okay, in this answer here. So this would be a good question to sort of practice with a range of different links into different dimensions in case something similar comes up in the exam this year. So the Health Resources Hub has put together, okay, a document that has suggested sample answers for the 2023 exam from last year. So that's something that schools are able to get a copy of if they just head to our website. And then finally, we also have one final session running on October 10th, which is helping students prepare for extended response questions in the exam. So as you probably know, there'll be an 8 to 10 mark question in the end of your exam. And these questions are typically the most challenging and lowest scoring for students. So this final session that we'll be running on October 10th from 5 till 6:15 p.m. online will help you to, I guess, navigate these extended response questions. You'll be sent some practice extended response questions if you sign up. And on the night, we'll go through, okay, a PDF with advice on how to analyze and link sources, break down the question, and approach structuring and writing your answer. And so that'll be sent to you after the session, as well as some additional questions for you to practice in the lead up to the exam this year. So you can see there's a link up here, a try booking link that you can go to register that session, or if you head to our website, there is a direct link from our website. So finally, you can see here, if you'd like to sign up to our YouTube channel, you can subscribe if you haven't already and you're on YouTube, and you'll get alerts to all of the videos that we're going to be doing for the remainder of the questions in the 2023 exam from last year, and also other exam tips and advice that we'll release in the lead up to the exam this year. You can also head to our website where there's opportunities for students and teachers, and you can see our social media links there and also our email if you'd like to get in touch. Okay, thanks so much.